Now, the information that's going to come in this video is going to be extremely out there, all right? It's going to be right out there. Okay, so I'm going to bring a few things to your attention. I'm going to explain to you why we are now in the 27-year war against the Antichrist, and we're in the 3rd year. The Great Awakening, right, the real Great Awakening was 220, and you know that. You know that. The Great Awakening was 220. There's no misinformation about that. We all lived in it for the last 3 years, right? So that's when something demonic came over the planet, right? Something evil came over the planet, and you felt it. You felt something demonic was happening, like people began to be possessed by the devil. And people start going crazy everywhere, okay? Radical behavior. Truth fighters all over the world, okay? People waking up all over the world, and people polarized into living their own little truth, right? And don't care, just follow the masses, right? We've got 2 different species here. A lot of people rattling, right? The Great Awakening is the demonic that you felt come over the planet, right? Through what happened in 2020 onwards. That's obvious. That's plain Jane obvious. So I'm going to give you some details, right? In biblical warning, the first trumpet written in the Bible is the oldest Jerusalem church will burn down. The oldest acting open door church. If you Google this, that was Nostradamus in 2019. That's the trumpet to warn you, right? The trumpet to warn you the 27-year war. Now that church is Nostradamus, and Nostradamus was brought through a special process as a Jerusalem church. They taught masterminds, right? That's what they did. They always did. This is the righteous church. And through their biblical history, what we don't know is they've always brought certain people up in a specific way to master their mind in certain bloodlines. They've been following the bloodlines. So when we go into Jesus' bloodline and we go backwards, as I've done in the previous video, let's go forward. Let's go forward in the bloodline of the masterminds coded with that DNA. Do you know how you know? I'll tell you how you know. When you look at biblical history and you look at predictions from all the prophets in the world, right, all the way through the Bible, all the way to the last prophet. The last prophecy was conveyed to John from Jesus himself. And he said it's the last book to be written, right? So let's just consider things. From the beginning, it's about a Messiah. It's in the old Sumerian tablets. And we watch the bloodlines and who predicts everything through the Bibles, right? Then we get to Jesus, right? When we get to Jesus, there's only one more book written, and that's Revelation. And he delivers that book. He delivers everything about the events in that book. So what you have to understand is that when we go through the bloodline from there onwards, we end up going through the Jerusalem church, right? And when we go through the Jerusalem church and the bloodlines, right? You see, he left a bloodline. His bloodline is here. And a lot of people are not aware of this. That's why it's hidden in biblical history, right? It's completely hidden for this very reason, so you don't know who they are from there onwards. That was all part of the deception all the way back then, is to make sure no one knew who the bloodlines were, to protect them. When they hunted Jesus down and stabbed him, and they also stabbed all the disciples and killed them, they had to protect the blood of the Lamb. Right? They had to protect that more than ever, because they tried to kill Jesus when he was born. Remember that. That's why he got killed, and so did the disciples. They had to protect the blood of the Lamb. So the bloodline continued, but only a few people knew this. And the church of Nostradamus were the masterminds of knowing all this. So through their bloodlines, right, a few years later, through their bloodlines, they created Nostradamus. And you know how you know this? I'll tell you how you know this. You know this because of the church burning down, the first trumpet written in the Bible, written way before he come. And he predicts all the predictions in the Bible. Many predictions, all these predictions come through. 87% come through. Only 13% hasn't. But there are some that we don't even know if they come through or not. So we can't discredit them, but we know 87% has. His predictions are perfect. Many of his predictions is all the same predictions written in the Bible and in Revelation. He predicts in the time of the 45th president of the 21st century will be the rise of the 27-year war against the Antichrist. This is the evidence of the trumpet in the Bible. So 27 is the 27th book. Revelation 27, you war against the Antichrist. 27 is a universal number. It stands for the Holy Spirit and the divine light, the most important number in the Bible and universal number. Think about this for a moment. The bloodlines come through the number 27. They show that the Holy Spirit and the divine light, that's what the number represents. Most of these people born on the 27th, and no one knows that. No one knows that. I'm born in the 27th. I'm a metal rat. A metal is the fifth element. A rat is a king, right? Go into in ancient history, you realize something. God created the 12 zodiacs. The zodiacs has 5 elements, 60 characters. Okay, it's all written in astrology books and all this, right? God created the 12 disciples, the 12 apostles, the 12 tribes of Judith. So pay attention. The zodiac signs is what it's all about. The metal rat is the king of all kings. I'm a metal rat, born in 1960 on the 27th September. 27 is balanced. It's a witness. Scales means you're always balanced, right? You're not far left, far right. You're a witness. You're always balanced and watch everything. The witness always knows the truth. It's always your truth, and the truth in the middle. We know the truth. We live in the truth. These are the signs through the zodiac signs. My son's born in the 27th. My grandson's born in the 27th. God creates the two most powerful events in global history on 6 international events with these 2 dates, with documents to prove it, and also my book unfolds perfectly, right? So the signs, right? The signs. So I'm given the signs, right? And I can remember things, right? Going into my bloodline and what my bloodline really is. So understand this carefully, very carefully, right? Very carefully. Listen to what I say. Listen to the word. The word will set you free. Listen to me carefully now, right? 27 September 1999, we were declared to be in post-human stage, no longer human, and stripped from our sixth sense, stripped from our spirit. Since 1960, the last human being born in the outback of Australia. Think about the outback of Australia for a moment, right? Think about how they live, and then think about the last time you lived like they did, right? Because I'm told to bring this to your information. They live by the kingdom. The kingdom is their church. They're in tap with nature. Mother Nature is the olive tree. Okay? They're in harmony with nature. They live by the vineyard rule equally. They live by 2 similar commandments. Okay? That's the last civilization that the orb of light, the Min light's been protecting for thousands of years, and God saved them in the great flood of Noah. They live by these commandments. They live by their natural organic environment. They live in peace and harmony, and the most spiritual human beings on earth. End of story. Not negotiable. The wisest civilization on the planet, they were sent to the promised land, okay, sent to the promised land after Lancers. They know everything about our history without any books, education, anything. They have a vortex of information. They know the truth. White man crazy, white man God's crazy. So God's always been protecting them with the Min light, and that's what Jesus tried to say. He was different. He said, the kingdom is your church. Go walk about, like the Aboriginals do. Go walk about. Go on the mountains, discover who you are, because the light's always with you. You have a different way. You're just not what you think. Well, the churches didn't like that. The Western civilization didn't like that. Nobody liked that. He said, but it's not like you think. I created you to be in the paradise, in the garden. In the garden, the kingdom's your church. The gathering is your church day. Gathering, right? Family, loved ones and friends, feast, wine. Like the Aboriginals, dance time, dancing, proactive, happy, always singing, always wonderful, always loving, compassionate creatures. Never kill each other. Don't hunt people. Don't eat meat. Not flesh eaters. Plant eaters, right? Okay, they live to be 120, 30, 40 years old. They lived to be a lot older than that not long ago. But we destroyed their environment. They're the last human beings born on earth. Right? God gave us this gift, right? Naturally, organically, with our sixth sense to always be in conduction and always live by a natural environment. That's paradise. That's a garden, right? Everything else in this world is BS. Everything else in this world is created by white man crazy, white man God's crazy. Right? Now you don't like that, but that's what paradise is. It's heaven, man. It's heaven. They create the most positive atmosphere on earth, and their biological system's perfect. Not like ours, it's destroying. Our body's such a corruption, curse, collusion. Theirs isn't. Theirs work together because they live by it with those 8 tools. They can talk to the land. They can create water. Things happen that's beyond their understanding. They've always been in contact with other dimensions and parallel worlds, and they can talk to the water, and the water comes, man. They've got unbelievable abilities that we destroyed. Incredible abilities. The birds feed them. Nature works with them together. There is so much in harmony with everything in nature. You have no fucking idea. Their sixth sense is so unbelievable that it can feel things in dimensional things, so they can send messages to a tribe, right, more than 30 kilometers away. It's a telegram system, right, universal language. And we had that up until the days of Noah. We had all this. We could live to be 1,000 years old and had all these abilities before the days of Noah, getting confused, right, into the materialistic world with Babylon and the fallen angels, weapons, beautification, money, greed, power, and temptation, modern technology, modern gadgets with images that entertain us all the time with their mindset. So we're completely stripped from our natural environment and completely stripped from all our olive tree, our mother, our nature, right? Completely stripped from it. And same psychologically, we're completely stripped from our biology, right? With our sixth sense in conduction to have all these abilities. We can do what Jesus can and more, right? That's what he's trying to tell us, man. He discovered these things, right? His natural organic way of life of the two olive trees, right? Mother and father. It's always been about mother and father. It starts with man and woman and it finishes with man and woman. The two olive trees, right? The one you're biologically connected to and spiritually connected to, right? That's why they're very spiritual and not psychological. And it's us that say psychological don't understand these fucking things because we're brain dead stupid. And breaking out of amnesia makes you realize this through your DNA coding. God chose me for this and tells you the truth. And I tell you the truth. And the truth is, the New York Climate Clock, the top scientists in the world that I work with in the world transformation movement to think instinctively and think outside the mind is the cure for the human condition we suffer from so much. Do you think it's a joke? It's resurrection humanity by understanding it. By understanding your primal state and thinking outside the mind and breaking through amnesia. And then you discover who you really are and you have these abilities. You have these incredible abilities, man. But we are oppressed not to have them. And we're deceived all the time with all this deception all over the world, so we can't use these abilities. And they keep guiding us through psychic programs with every deception in the world to strip us from this ability. That's why Area 51 NASA sits on top of Pine Gap in Australia to control the whole area, man, so no one knows about it and don't know what the secret is. And the Aborigines sit in the outback that I had the pleasure of meeting, they don't want to discuss this with white men because white men crazy. They say white men dangerous because it's fucking true, man. They know and they want to help us, but we won't listen to them. They said, please listen, we know the truth and we want to set you all free so we can all live like we can and believe we can all be here. He said to me, there was 14 billion people here and there was no drama at all. He said everything was in harmony with 14 billion people, long time ago. And he said it's being suppressed for mankind with all this depopulation bullshit and all the things they're doing, right? But we're not living right. Our mind's taking us into extinction. All negativity creates extinction, and that's what we do. We create negative things and consume too much and building all the wrong things and consuming the wrong things. They know the truth. Their ancestors not long ago was over 250 to 500 years old. Believe me, I know. The skeletons found out there in 2019 I was looking at more than 20 years ago, before they found them. 5 meters tall. They didn't die that long ago, man. We got razorbacks out there that are 6 foot tall in the shoulders, but their senses are so hectic, we can't get anywhere near them. We got crocodiles more than 50 feet long, but their senses are so powerful we can't get near them. We got the longest snakes in the world we can't get near because their senses are so unbelievable. They have a senses there. They have a positive atmosphere that no one has on Earth, and they suppress these things from you. The giants weren't long ago, man, right? And they'd lived to be 500 years old and older. And they could use all their natural abilities, but we were the ones that collapsed in Babylon, from Babylon. We're the ones who got confused. They didn't. They were always protected by God. Until we come along with the negative fears that destroyed their whole environment and destroyed their way of life. The negativity that we drive. And that's hard to believe, man, but I'm telling you, it's the truth. It is the real truth, and it's the only truth that's going to set you free. Positivity creates life. Negativity creates extinction. End of story. Right? It's not negotiable. And the sword's being divided between the two of us. 2 different dimensions splitting. The sword and the looking glass. And I know the sword of the future. And those that come with us, it's going to live in harmony to create the kingdom of earth like the Aboriginals are. In peace, man. And everything else has been gone. And everyone else that's not in that mindset, they're the ones that's going to be gone. And I don't want to be in their shoes, I can tell you that. I've seen their future. But we don't suffer, man. We have to be prepared for 227, the harvest. We have to be seriously prepared. Because I'm telling you now, 2:27 is the end time. You don't believe that? God works through me and works through the top scientists in the world, man. You don't realise that. They came out with that report in 1999, the 27th September, the report came out from the first year 20 and the 26th. Those documents specify everything in Revelation about the post-human stage and we're no longer human. And we warn Revelation that every person will be deceived into this. And you're going through a great awakening coming out of amnesia to be saved. Right? To be saved. Because in your primal state, you're saved by being in that image. And nothing that people ever expect about rapture and revelation and the explanation about these things is even understood, or the resurrection. But I'm giving it to you perfectly clear for a reason. It's coded in my DNA. And my memories are coming forward. My memories are coming forward coded in my DNA. I know who I am. My father was seen to be crazy, born in Denmark. I was born in Denmark. My father was seen to be crazy. Everybody rejected him. He had the French bloodline in him. And that's all I can say. I don't know any more than that at the moment. I can only tell you what I do know. Not what I believe, not what anyone tells me, what I know from my feelings and my DNA. My father, he left me at 1 year old. He was a playboy. My mum said everybody loved him. He was just unbelievable. Everybody loved him. He had this aura about him that was unbelievable. She couldn't leave him. He left her when I was 1. He said he loved me, he wanted to know me when I was 17, and I rejected him because I didn't believe in him. I was told bad stories about my dad from my mum. I never had a relationship with him. I never ever knew him in my life. Okay? I remember seeing him 2 or 3 times. When I went back to Denmark when I was 16 years old, I was there for 5 months and I met him twice. I spent a night at his place. And there was something about him, right? And he freaked me out a little bit. He said he loved me. He said, oh, you love me more than anything, right? And I spun out because I never really knew him. I didn't even know him. He just spun me out. So I didn't see him again. But I know stories about my father. They all thought he was crazy. He'd come up with these stories. And they were old biblical type stories and about history, right? And they thought he was nuts. Everyone thought he was crazy. And you know what? I didn't know what to think because I never knew him. I just heard stories, right? But something came to me. His bloodline was from France. And all these things are opening up about Nostradamus and these predictions, right? There's coded in the DNA. There's coded in there. I'm a mastermind, recorded mastermind, one of the biggest in the world, right? And I left my mark on earth and I was a king of all the kings in the underground world. And I just think it's ironic, man, that what I went through in my life as #1 most wanted criminal in Australian history that turned against the system that was carrying out the plan that Hitler created. I just think it's ironic that I was a king of all kings and I went through there, right, with pure love and compassion, man. I was always honesty the best policy. I always create reputation from the word. The reputation's the word of mouth, right? The word. And somehow I rose to the top within 18 months, right, and become, you know, the most trusted person that was going to sort things out for everybody else. And I did. I sorted everything out for everybody and all the problems they had, right? How did I do that? I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just the way it is, man. How do you explain these things? It just happened, right? But I have amnesia all the way through all these things. I had amnesia. I was just following a path. I was just following my instincts. Everything I did, I just followed my instincts. I didn't think about it. All right? I just followed my heart all the way through, and it got me there, right, with the things that I had in my mind. And what's extraordinary about this is all of a sudden I'll go to jail, I find the cure of human condition, I bring it to humanity, and I'm completely oblivious at the same time. Through the biggest mental health research, I'm completely oblivious at the same time. Then I discover this, right? After I died in 2012, I started to discover that I'm the one that led the Queensland Mental Health Board on the biggest research in the whole world with the human conditioning. And I can explain it better than anyone. But I'm polarised, right? I'm polarised and hypnotised. And then I wake up to these things and I think, oh my God, that was me that brought them to them. And they're not explaining it right. They didn't talk to me deep enough about these things because I didn't understand. I was polarised and hypnotised. I couldn't even explain it right because it just all happened naturally. It just happened organically, right? So then I wake up with amnesia and I discover all these things. And I discover how I was behind all this. And man, it blows my mind away, right? As you could imagine. But see, the reality is, I know the truth. And I know the truth is going to set us free, and that's what matters. I know the resurrection, man. And that's all you got to care about. Doesn't matter who I am, where I come from. You just got to listen to the information that's coded in my DNA. And don't judge me by what I look, right? Don't judge me by who I am. You were told I'd be coming from the cave of prison. You were told I'd be an old man of renowned wisdom and knowledge. And man, I'm a mastermind recorded with documents, one of the biggest in the world. I was a king of all kings because I'm a metal rat. And I was, in fact, the king of all the kings in the underground world that took over the most evil planet in the world and took over the scientists. And then I wrote the book that unfolds with evidence perfectly. I mean, fuck me, right? It blows my mind away, guys, but I know who I am, right? I'm just discovering who I am, really. I'm still just in the process of discovering. It's all discovering, and everything that comes out of my mouth is coming through my DNA, through a vortex of information from another dimension that has a profound effect on my reality, and that's why I'm teaching these things. I know how it works, for God's sake, right? And that's all you have to have faith in. I know how it works, man, and all I'm trying to tell you is how these things work, so you can activate and discover who you are, man, because there's somebody in every one of you, man. All you 100 million out there, the real human beings, there's something deep down inside you that you're about to discover, because I did. And when you do, it starts to unfold, man. It starts to unravel. Now that's interesting, because on the documents by the think tank in Australia, it says I'm a mastermind that could unravel everything. And I was faster than them, right? And I thought, that's insane, man. That's mentally insane, right? But it's true. It's actually true. And I discovered that later. I never put the pieces together. The first time I read this document in 2004, I went into shock. This is crazy. This is not me. I'm just an idiot. You got the wrong guy. That's what I thought, right? I thought these people were just muggling things up and making documents to make me look really, really horrible, bad. And I was thinking, these guys have exaggerated way over the top, man. These guys have exaggerated these documents way out of proportion. That's not me. I'm nothing like that. I'm just a normal person, right? Deep down inside, I'm just an ordinary person with a family, man, who looked after my mates. That's all I saw myself as. I couldn't see myself as anything like this. Are you kidding me? And then I discovered it's fucking true, man. Right? And it blows my mind away. How do you deliver that kind of shit? How do you? And then I realised there's 6 meters of documents written about me. Then I realised I'm involved in the Martin Byron buyback plan that disarmed Australia. I'm involved with the 2 top scientists from NASA. I'm involved in one of the biggest destructive plans from Hitler from the days of Noah that they're talking about in the front line today. I'm thinking, fuck me, are you kidding me? Are you that person that was involved in all this? Yep, I sure am. My God. You can understand why God chose me in this moment when you put the pieces together. It's so simple to see, man, my God. And no wonder he put me through this path. He did it for a reason, man. And if I was polarized, I would have followed that path. But if I was thinking the way everybody else was, I never would have. I'd have never come through this path. If I went to school and became a normal person like a robot, like everyone else, and I didn't get rejected in society and get through the punishment I did, I would never become this person. To know all these things and unlock the DNA code of God within because of meth. Because of meth that activates you. Just because of meth alone and everything I know about it and the molecules, I now know how we are designed biologically. Because I know how to activate. I know everything about it through meth, amphetamine, magic potions from the Bible, from Nimrod, and how all these tools work and how to create them naturally. Because I'm a scientist, I'm a biologist, and God put me through that path so I would know all these little things about magic potion and how we function. Because that's how we activate to be in the Christ image and use all these tools that he can. By just knowing this through your DNA code and having all this information that goes back to magic potions from the days of Noah. So I know everything about this because my DNA code goes all the way back to the days of Noah, and I know the magic potions they used and what they were doing then and what they're doing now. That's why I know. And I come with the most powerful evidence. In biblical history, the church is the first trumpet warned by Nostradamus 500 years ago exactly what that time will be. And that time, you felt it coming over the planet in 2020, guys. In 2019, in fact, wasn't the end of 2019? So believe me, the scientists that God created through all this bullshit to do with these states, this date is the most important number on the planet, placed in the central of our society, written in my book 4 years ago, right? Put up on New York Climate Clock 2 years ago by the same scientists. 227 is your end times where things go into massive catastrophe. And they tell you it's the most important number on the planet, placed in the central of our society. They say this number represents the most important number on the planet, right? And that clock will run to the 27th September, my birthday. That's the sign. the sign. Now listen to me. I can tell you what I know. See you guys 2:25, the book, written by Jonathan Thorne. He's on the money. Jonathan Cahn with the great gods of Egypt, rising, the great gods, the return of the gods. Jonathan Cahn, his book is on the money, right? The harvest. The harvest will go through, and 2/3 of the population or more, and I believe it's a lot more, is going to go into massive extinction, but people don't know how. But it's going to happen. All negativity is going into extinction as two dimensions begin to split. Right? Now I don't know how. I just know things from the looking glass and what they're talking about in Europe that's close about different dimensions and these two dimensions splitting. I know, right? How I know, I'm not going to tell you now, because I don't know. Right? But I know, right? So what's happening in the world is that around 227, naturally and organically, okay, catastrophe is going to happen all over the world, okay? And the world's going to go into a depopulation plan automatically through nature and all the things that are happening around the world. Good and bad, right? The 27-year war against the Antichrist, we created it from negative fields. Okay, all negativity created, everything's going to happen. That's what you have to look at. We have to live positive and go into positive fields and stay positive about certain things by having faith in God and that you're created in God's image, and that image is Jesus Christ, and that's why He's our Savior. Don't care about anyone else, right? Yahweh is God, and that's the name in the Bible that He's called by, right? Okay, Yeshua is Jesus Christ. That's His real name. Okay, Yahweh and Yeshua, right? No matter what anyone tries to manipulate you with and what stories they try to tell you, right? They're all confused. They can't think straight. They're robots. Think about that. Okay, 99.9% of people in the world are robots, and that's why you have to think about it. Okay, it might be very uncomfortable, but you have to release everything and sacrifice everything else, no matter how you feel about it. You've got to learn what the truth is and set yourself free from it. You will not suffer. I can promise you that. I know that for a fact. Right? These dimensions split in ways we do not understand, where we go into another dimension in a heartbeat, in a flash, and our life continues for 1,000 years and we'll live up the tree of life, like the Australian Aborigines do, by the Vineyard Rule and 2 Commandments. And we all in that image where we want paradise, we want heaven on earth, don't we? Okay, and through your placebo effect of having absolute faith in this, with all your instincts in the right place and your perception in the right place, and change your perception into dimension perception, so you have contact to the Father and you can stand in the Father's image, right? Through those 8 conductions that I told you about. Remember, the 8 most important tools of righteousness is coded in your DNA. Live by them and your body cells works together and you begin to live at the tree of life, and things begin to happen that's going to be on understanding. It takes time. Patience is a virtue. Things cannot happen overnight after 5,000 years worth of DNA damage. 5,000 years worth of DNA damage, and specifically, dramatically in the last 300 years, and most dramatically since 1960. So just consider these things. We have to repair DNA. We have to think outside the mind and repair our abilities to think correctly. And it's breaking through amnesia. And it might rattle you. It might take you through a lot of shaking and rattling. But I do tell you something very specific, what to do. Go walk about in the mountains and disconnect yourself from every system, and the chains break off you. That's why Jesus went out there for more than 40 days and 40 nights, right? There's a specific reason for that, right? You've got to learn to survive in nature and go back to your primal state and live by the Vineyard Rule equally with your soul family, right? With the people in Christ's image, right? And that's what you have to work out, right? And get off the grid, because things are going to get a bit ugly around here, right? Just have faith, right? Things will happen automatically, right? If you believe, things happen automatically. And the best way to understand that, if you do a winner breathing program, the Holy Breath, and understand the truth about this, 30 days every morning, and 30 days breathing and cold showers every morning. First a cold shower, activate your body cells. Things start to happen automatically. You don't have to think about it. Once you understand things happen automatically, how your decisions change without thinking about it, you start to see that you alter your decisions so much you have no idea. In all positive aspects, you'll change your decisions with what you consume and what you do automatically. Just do the When I Breathe program every morning and cold showers every day, and everything happens automatically. Once you understand it happens automatically, you'll grow more faith in automatic, organic behavior, natural behavior through your instincts, and your instincts get activated with 7 times more positive power and energy, and you do it naturally. But the key factor is what I told you, faith. that you are created in God's image, and you must be in that image, and that image is Jesus Christ, and that's why he's your Father and your Saviour, right? The Father's image is to understand this in a Father's figure. The Father figure is understanding what a Father's figure really is. Jesus' last quote on the cross is the keys to resurrection. The 8 tools I give you, right, that you're created with, and similar commandments, 2 similar commandments, and equal, live equal, right? The Ryan will how to come alive equally, and the kingdom's your church, right? But here's the most important quote you all must understand in resurrection, and understand the resurrection, so you can resurrect yourself from the primal state, back to the primal state, from amnesia, from the post-human stage, so you can think differently, think dimensionally. It's by understanding this important quote. The last words of Jesus was this, and I want you to live by them, because if you don't live by them, you don't stick your head out the cave. You keep looking back in, and you keep living in the cave. You've got to stick your head out the cave and see the light. And this is the light. Jesus' last word was to the Father, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. If you can live with that principality, you'll have the power. Right? The principality is your moral values in the right place. That's your principality. That's the 8 tools. And then you have your power that God gave you of 7-fold wisdom and knowledge, with 7 times more positive power in energy. And that's the truth. And it's the truth that will set you free. And the liberation's remarkable, guys. Trust me, have faith in me. I activate people back their primal state through their ancestry tools all over the world. And it's going to happen to you guys if you have faith in me, okay? I'm here to resurrect you back in your primal state so you can be saved. That's resurrection. That's a salvation plan. And it's beautiful.